Checking eyes, check, check. Checking lighting, checking my appearance. Welcome to Dumpster Times, issue number 13. Yes, it's an unlucky number because we're going to talk about an unlucky subject, Ohio. Are you sick of me talking about Ohio? Am I sick of being in Ohio? Well, maybe by the end of this video, we'll figure that out. But first of all, it's a little bit uncomfortable talking about the great state of Ohio standing out here in the open. So let's go back into my garden. I'll meet you there. Have a seat here amongst the pollinators. So we are talking about Ohio, redistricting one more time. We just had another round of redistricting, and this one, it has been signed, sealed, and delivered. And it's horribly unfair, but the two Democrats on the commission voted for it because they didn't think they could get anything better. Well, what was better? Let's see if we can find the numbers here. The districts okayed Tuesday will likely result in the election of an Ohio House with Republicans winning in an estimated 62% of its seats and an estimated 70% of the Senate seats. Currently, Republicans hold 68% of the House seats and 79% of the Senate. Well, you want to know what the actual numbers are? I believe Democrats over the past 10 years have averaged out to 45% of the state vote, and the Republicans are now 54%. That's way far away from 70 and 62. And the current thing, 68 and 79, well, we might as well be living in a fascistic state because Democrats have absolutely no way of getting anything accomplished here. But in the lead up to this latest round, this writer discovered that the Redistricting Commission Republicans held several regional hearings in far-flung state parks, notably Deer Creek State Park, which is 30 to 35 miles southwest of the State House, near Mount Sterling, population about 2,000, in Madison County, far away from diverse Columbus, and equally as far away from, say, public transportation. Well, anyway, it's a small world because one of Deer Creek features is the restored Harding cabin. Yes, you've heard of Warren G. Harding, haven't you? If you haven't, hang in there. It's a summertime hangout for a group of State House grifters and GOP hangers-on in the entourage of future President Warren G. Harding of Marion, Ohio. The cabin belonged to Harry M. Dougherty, a Washington courthouse lawyer. Dougherty was a former Ohio House member who later arguably became the original State House super lobbyist, especially for utilities. Sound familiar, says the writer. And yes, didn't we just have a go around with First Energy and the Speaker of the Ohio House? Corruption, they had to put him in jail, put the Speaker in jail. But you know what? Ohio still votes in the Republicans, so we still have a Republican House leader and a majority leader. It's just insane, insane. All right, so this cabin that the present-day GOP went to meet in was a place for GOP insiders to drink, play cards, and scheme. For a time, Dougherty was also Ohio's Republican state chair and one of Harding's biggest boosters. After Harding won the presidency in 1920, he named Dougherty U.S. Attorney General. In Columbus, Dougherty was seen as capo of what came to be called the Harding Gang, renamed in Washington the Ohio Gang, whose unofficial headquarters and party house became known as the nation's national capital's little green house on K Street. Well, isn't that some interesting insight that Republican behavior continues to play badly? And that's why they have to go to these remote little retreats where all the men, the rich men, can gather, and you and I are not welcome. Okay, so that is that. Ohio, the heart of it all. Yes, we're going back to the logo I remember from my childhood. Ohio, the heart of it all. Because the state kind of looks like the shape of a heart, but it really doesn't. And because it's sort of in the place in the body, if the map of the United States was a body, that's where the heart would be. Or is it because we have such kind hearts? We never would join things like the Proud Boys and go to our nation's capital and smash down the doors and the windows and threaten the lives of people. We would never do that because Ohio, the heart of it all. So, should I stay or should I go? A year ago, I had finally retired from all working responsibilities. And I took a look around at my situation, my state of being, and I wondered, should I stay here in Akron, Ohio? I have nothing to keep me here now. I could go where I want. I could go to a state that perhaps was not so gerrymandered, a state that had kind and compassionate legislators and policies that helped senior citizens like moi. Yes, I am now a person living on a fixed income. You youngsters, you'll hear this all your life. You'll see it in the newspapers. Someone writes in, I'm a senior citizen living on a fixed income, and I can't pay these taxes you want us to pay. Hey, that's me now. Am I complaining about my taxes? Not in this episode. Maybe I'll complain another time about a specific thing about taxes. But in this one, no. We're talking about Ohio. Should I stay here or should I go to Michigan? Oh, I know there's some Ohioans who would just freak out if I told them I was moving to Michigan because they hate Michigan because of sports ball. College sports ball, for some reason, makes a difference. But you know what? Michigan has Rashida Tlaib. I would love to live in her district and have her represent me. And Michigan has a governor who is a very strong woman who is doing great things for the state of Michigan. So Michigan would be an option. Now, over here on this side, toward the east, is Pennsylvania. And they got a brand new senator, one who doesn't like dress codes. I can relate to that. And then farther east and a little bit north, there's Vermont with Bernie. Oh, Bernie. Bernie, you awakened my political mind. For years, it had been dormant because I didn't think voting mattered anymore. Well, it did for a little while. And now it's just an act of self-defense to keep those political, cutthroat, corrupt politicians in line, if it is at all possible. So can we save Ohio? Since then, there was a big downward in my emotional track when the Supreme Court ruled on abortion, and Ohio immediately passed some draconian abortion law and has been picking on Planned Parenthood for years. But we're going to vote on reproductive rights this fall. We're going to vote on legalized marijuana this fall. And believe it or not, the one good thing Ohio has done is they did bring us legal medical marijuana. And I will confess right here now that a year ago I got my prescription and I have been a lot happier and a lot more creative since doing so. So anyway, I would like to see that opportunity expanded to all adults in the great state of Ohio. So am I talking myself into staying here? Kind of, sort of, for the moment. We got to figure out this balance of power, though, this ruthless Republicans running the state. It's creepy. I want to stay here. I'd like to stay here and just tell people to live your life and don't interfere with other people. Somebody wants to live in a dumpster, that's their business. And if they're growing pollinators in the Devil's Strip, that's fine too. As long as we're all taking care of each other. But we're not taking care of each other. We're afraid of each other. We're angry all the time. Who wants to be angry? I don't want to be angry at the Republicans, but look what they did in Washington this past week. They're nuts. Finally, a bit of positive news from Akron, Ohio. We are going to be able to recycle glass once again. This time it will not be in our weekly recyclable bins, which we used to put our glass in until about 5 years. They told us stop. We can't do that anymore because it's too expensive and they were sending it out of state. It cost too much. The glass was contaminated, blah, blah, blah. Well, we were all very upset and we talked about it on social media and every chance we could get. And finally, the city listened to us and they are giving us drop-off places where we can drop off our bottles and glass. I made myself a little glass collecting section here in the dumpster where I can wash out my bottles and collect them until I have to take them to a place where they won't be tossed in a landfill. So that's good news. And as far as Ohio, well, you know what they used to say? Love it or leave it. How about maybe I'll like it here and stay a little longer, or maybe I'll get fed up and just leave. Who knows? Should I stay or should I go? Thanks for listening, viewing. Thanks for being here. See you next time.